At first glance, the photo might seem simple. A pile of KKN shirts and hats laid neatly on a bed with me, Angel, and Ashua standing beside them, smiling in a room that looks no different from any student cos. To anyone else, it's a casual snapshot taken before the distribution began, one of those pictures you forgot after scrolling past it. But to me, this picture captures far more than what's visible on the surface. It reminds me of the unseen rhythm of campus life, that behind-the-scene role students often take without applause, and the quiet moment that shape our growth in unexpected ways. I remember how warm the room felt that day, not just from the weather, but from the sense of shared purpose. There was a kind joy in that mess of fabric and tags, in folding shirts while making silly comments, in knowing that our group of 30 would eventually come through that space of to collect what they need. It wasn't about the clothes themselves, but about what they represented: preparation, teamwork, and the beginning of a chapter that none of us could fully predict. I chose to reflect on this moment because it reminds me on how life on campus is often defined not by grand events or academic milestones, but by the quiet tasks we take on for each other. It was a small act, storing and sorting uniforms, yet in that simplicity lived something deeply meaningful. That day, caught in the camera's lens, holds a part of who I am as a student, as a friend, and as someone learning to grow through the ordinary. This picture, once just a part of my gallery, has quietly become a snapshot of what it truly means to be a part of campus life. I never expected to be the one in charge of distributing all the KKN shirt and hats, but somehow the task landed in my hands. It started with a simple offer to help, and before I realized it, I was suddenly responsible for keeping track of 30 different sizes, coordinating pickups, and answering the same 5 questions over and over in the group chat. At first, I thought it would be easy. How hard could it be to hand out clothes? But very quickly, I learned that even the smallest tasks can become complex when they involve people, time, and responsibility. There were days when my phone buzzed nonstop with messages asking whether someone's name was on the list, whether they could exchange sizes, or when they could pick up their things. I kept a handwritten checklist beside my bed, nervous that I might accidentally give someone the wrong set. Some people came earlier than expected, others forgot entirely. A few didn't respond at all, and I had to follow up multiple times. It wasn't physically exhausting, but the mental load slowly built up. I had to stay organized, polite, and responsive, even when I felt like ignoring my phone. What surprised me most was how this responsibility changed the way I saw myself. I wasn't leading a major event or speaking on a stage, but I was learning how to stay committed, how to show up, and how to take care of something for a group. It made me realize that campus life isn't only about lectures and grades. Sometimes it's about stepping into small roles that quietly teach you patience, consistency, and reliability. I had never thought folding shirts could teach me anything, but it did. It taught me what it means to be responsible even when no one is watching. There was a point when my cost no longer felt like my own room, but more like a temporary logistics center buzzing with unannounced visitors, crumpled receipts, and plastic bags filled with folded shirts. Every surface had a purpose. The bed, where we stacked the shirt by size, the desk held the checklist and spare hats, and the floor was basically a pathway for people to walk in, ask for their name, grab their stuff, and leave. It became a space in constant motion. I would hear knocks at random hours, sometimes during meals, sometimes while half asleep. Once someone came at 7 in the morning, still groggy, asking if they could just get it quickly before their class. I'll smile and nodded, even though I hadn't brushed my teeth yet. They were funny little mix-up, like someone confidently walking out with a size L only to come back 10 minutes later that they needed S. One person accidentally took 2 hats and then texted me apologizing like they had committed a serious crime. In a weird way, all the commotion made the room feel more alive than it ever had before. Friends I usually saw during class now came into my space, sat for a few minutes, shared small updates, and laughed with a laugh. Sometimes the visit turned into short catch-up. Someone would sit on the edge of my bed, pointing at the shirt colors, and we'd end up talking about how random things like how stressful the semester had been or what they planned to do after KKN. These weren't long or deep conversation, but they reminded me of how student life is. Full of fleeting, meaningful exchanges, my course, which had been quiet and private, became a little hub of warmth, laughter, and connection, even if it was just for a week.